What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast, coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck Bulls _Peck, joined by Big Day Bow, BAWL Sports, Will the Go Gottlieb, Will _ Gottlieb. Our pal and producer under controls is the one and only Miss Sarah. What's up, Sarah?
Hi.
Like your nails, Sarah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Cubs blue?
Cubby blue.
Cubby blue. I know. Are we winning still? I think so.
Listen. When I was there, it was 3-1 when I walked in. I sat down and got on the watch along. Also tuned into the watch along that's happening right now. CHGO Cubs as they play the Giants.
You can have two YouTube tabs open.
You can. It's a thing. So I sat there and I got on the show, sat in Joey's producer chair. Cubs go up, score 3 more runs while I sit there. I get up, I leave. Giants hit a grand slam. It was 6-5 when I came in here. It was 6-5. I don't know if it's still 6-5.
It is currently 6-5 Cubs, top of the 9th, 1 out.
There it is.
Giants got a man on first. So what you're
Cubs
saying is,
can't
as a White Sox fan, you are, at least today, a Cubs good luck charm.
Yeah, that's what I was telling. I was like, hey, man, you're going to need me on this one. I gave all I could, and then I got up, and the magic was gone.
Yeah,
do so much.
Fun vibes in the office today. Cubs guys doing a watch along. A lot of action going on the grill on the balcony.
Yeah,
grilling with Dad.
Grilling with Dad
is here hanging out, grilling meats.
Got a young kid in there too. You okay with the youth being in here, Matt?
Yeah.
You cool with that? Okay.
I mean, for a second I was like, ooh, I need to watch my language and tread lightly.
I think if he's around grilling meats, I think he's heard a thing or two.
Well, if he's around grilled meats, we all know he's being raised properly.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah,
I won't argue any of these.
And things. Sports, he was like, he's watching the game, eating grilled meats.
Yes,
parenting 100%.
Not bad.
So speaking of fun things that CHGO does with our fellow fans, we a week from tonight are having a CHGO Bulls draft party, a live draft show from PB&J, the awesome bar in West Loop, right around the corner from us here. We will be going live at 7 p.m. right when the draft starts. Yeah. Presented by our friends at Coors Light. Coors Light is going to offer great drink deals throughout the night. Of course, on top of that, get yourself, your friends, family, bring out the crew for some delicious pizza from PB&J.
Yes.
And we're going to do some giveaways, some CHGO swag, maybe some Bulls memorabilia. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. And Sarah just threw the link to the event page on our allchgo.com website. Tickets are free. Admission is free. Just throw us an RSVP on that link and let us know you are coming out because it's going to be a fun time.
People are RSVPing. I told you yesterday, Julia said she would be in the house. Strick said he'd be in the house as well. There are a few others that are coming. Sarah, if you're not working, I'm sure you'll come through.
If I'm not working, I will be there.
See what I just did. I know Sarah. I know how that rolls.
And the people's producer, excited. Joey, of course, will be there.
Well, of course, Joey will be in effect live. And I'm very excited. I love these kind of events just to watch and see because this draft is going to be insane as soon as it starts. I don't know who's going where or doing what. Alex Sarr won't even work out for the Atlanta Hawks. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Klingon going number 1.
Dude, this Reed Shepard might go. Who knows? Like, anything can happen, dog. And I'm excited to watch it, Will.
I can't wait. And if it's anything close to as crazy as my mock draft that I just posted,
Dude.
Then it's going to be a lot of fun to watch along with you guys.
Indeed. We are going to touch on some of the interesting free agency and trade rumors from Action Network's Matt Moore that dropped yesterday because there were a bunch of Bulls names in that report of his.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that a little bit later. But, yeah, let's start with the fact that GOAT dropped a brand new mock draft earlier today, and this one has a whole bunch of trades in it. Oh my God! This one is for diehards only. Yeah, Will?
Yes.
There you
correct.
go. Your latest reason to become a CHGO diehard. I saw somebody in the replies after you posted on Twitter was like, "I can't see it. What's the trade?" And I quoted it, and I was like, "Sign up to be a diehard, and then you'll see it."
You'll see it immediately. He will make you a smarter fan.
This is true.
Be a diehard, yo.
So I mean, Will, how many trades went down in your new mock draft trades edition?
So-
because it seemed like every other team was making a trade out of where they were.
I made
on fire.
7 trades in the first round.
Oh, yes.
I went absolutely mad with this. It was a lot of fun.
Will's going ham.
I feel like this week has been kind of heavy. Like I wanted to lighten it up with some fake trades, get back in the Fanspo bag. And
I love how Goat lightens it up with more things to do. That's
Yes, of
amazing.
course.
So we
You're an
got
amazing
a
person.
trade for the number 1 pick. We got a trade for the number 2 pick. We got a trade for the number 3 pick. We got the Bulls getting 2 lottery picks.
Ooh.
Wow.
We got Jakob Poeltl going to the Grizzlies and the Raptors moving into the top 10. We got Anthony Simons getting traded. We got the Sixers making a big swing, and then Lauri Markkanen, a huge mega deal. So
Mega
it's
deal.
a lot of fun.
Oh
It's
my!
a lot of fun in here.
There's a lot of juice in there. I man. Okay. Well, so let's talk about the Bulls 3-team trade. If you want to throw that graphic upstairs so everybody can see what we're talking about. You have a Bulls, Pistons, Blazers 3-team deal.
Okay.
And walk us through this, Will, as far as who gets what, and then we can talk about why each team might do this.
So, yeah, for all these teams and all these trades, I kind of wanted to just make trades that I wanted to see happen. So, like, some of the stuff has been kind of speculated. Obviously, Mikal Bridges and the Rockets, the number 1 pick. Like, some of this stuff is kind of out there, but I just put the details together. But for the Bulls specifically, what I wanted them to do was get some picks and kind of move towards the future and create some cap space. So, we talked about this a while back. It was 5 and Isaiah Stewart for Zach LaVine and 11. It's kind of a variation of that. But instead of getting Isaiah Stewart, which I was kind of running through some of these with some friends, and they were like, giving up Isaiah Stewart is too much. So I pulled him off, and the Bulls get the number 7 pick and the number 14 pick. The Blazers get the number 5 pick, so they move up 2 spots. They get the protected lottery pick back from the Bulls, and then 2 additional second-round picks. So they move up 2 spots in the draft, regain all of their future flexibility to make trades, and then pick up a couple of second-round picks. And then the Pistons move back to 11 from 5 and pick up Zach LaVine. So basically, they slide down 6 spots to get a shot at an all-star. The Blazers move up 2 spots, get their flexibility back for the price of moving off of their pick number 14. And then the Bulls get themselves 2 picks in the lottery. They move up, and they get an additional 14th pick, which kind of helps them get some young players in there. But I think the guys that I drafted can also really help them now. And we talked about both of them yesterday who were linked in a workout with the Bulls earlier this week. So I think it just kind of made sense. And I feel like it is pretty fair for all sides.
Yeah, so in the mock, after this trade goes through, the Bulls with pick 7 and 14 in next Wednesday's draft, you have them taking Ron Holland, the G League Ignite prospect, at 7, and then Kyle Filipowski from Duke at number 14. You mentioned in your explanation on these hypothetical trades that LaVine's value is negative and there is a limited market. You would consider this a win of a trade for the Bulls to basically salary dump Zach LaVine and going from having 1 pick in the top half of the first round to having 2 picks in the top half.
And you move off of some additional like lower level assets, but you don't actually cut into any of your own first round picks. Obviously, that Blazers one, who knows whether it conveys. That could end up just being a second, and then 2 of your own future seconds in order to completely wipe LaVine off the books. And then you also move up in the draft and pick up another thing. Like, this is probably too good to be true. I don't think that the Bulls could actually get this much. But I feel like that's kind of where his value is right now. And if the Bulls could turn that into a ton of cap space to be able to use their mid-level exception and 2 young players, Filipowski and Ron Holland, who I think can both obviously be like good players down the line, but also contribute now and help this team, which is what they want to accomplish. So all of a sudden, to me, like if you bring in 2 upside rookies, bringing back DeMar, and you've moved off of Zach, bringing back DeMar makes a little bit more sense to me.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to like find ways to rationalize what I think is going to happen by like coming up with trades that I would both like to see and also I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the Detroit one really makes sense, and I think it makes more sense now that Monty Williams has been let go.
Yep.
So Trajan Langdon might be looking for something to kind of jumpstart interest, you know what I'm saying, and get some juice going on in that kind of organization. But also I'm looking at when they make those trades, like the guys in front that you kind of have. And, you know, it's Montes you have going, Portland, and you got Basketball Joey, a.k.a. Reed Shepherd, going to Charlotte. Why do you think that would be the case when they already have a guy like LaMelo Ball?
You're asking specifically about Reed?
Reed Chip, yes.
Yeah, so Reed, I had Reed going 6 to Charlotte. A lot of people mock him to the Rockets at 3, and I think that makes a lot of sense. In this mock draft, I traded the 3rd pick to Brooklyn for Mikal Bridges and some other stuff. So I had the Nets moving up and taking Stephon Castle, which pushed Reed down. I think Reed is a really special prospect because he can play on and off the ball.
Sure.
So I think he actually works really well next to LaMelo, who can also play on and off the ball. Great weak side defender. LaMelo is obviously like much longer and can guard bigger players, although he's got some work to do on that end. Great shooter. Like, I think he's kind of the perfect secondary guard to have. And so you could see him in a situation where he is a little bit more ball dominant, but I think he also would succeed more quickly in a role where he doesn't necessarily have to be, running pick and roll every time down. Although I think he could, and LaMelo could play off of him, or one's on the bench, the other one's kind of running the show. So I think that fit actually makes a lot of sense. And Gavoni from ESPN reported in his mock draft today that 3 to 6 is kind of the range, and 6 is probably the floor for Reed. So that it felt like it made sense with the Spurs taking Risache at 4, the Blazers moving up to get Matas Buzelis. Like, the Blazers aren't going to take another guard. They've got Scoot, they've got Shaedon Sharp. The Nets, maybe they take him, maybe the Spurs take him, but I just feel like Risache falling to 4 into the laps of the Spurs where they can pair those 2 French guys, that just makes a lot of sense to me. So that's how I went. But Reed is much higher on my personal big board for sure.
People in the comments chiming in. Our guy, French Bulls TV, what up, buddy? Saying, I love this trade. Don't want Holland, though. Connect would be nice. In this new mock, you have Dalton Connect going 12 to OKC, so the Bulls would miss out on him, and instead going with Filipowski at 14. Fish calling this trade definitely a win. Also pointing out that the Blazers pick is never coming here, which is why I think, like, when you're talking about what the Bulls are giving up in a trade scenario like this, obviously you're giving up Zach LaVine, but also getting off of Zach LaVine. You're turning 11 into 7 and 14. You're giving up a couple of second-round picks, and you're just sending back a pick that probably is conveying to you as a second-round pick 4 years from now. It doesn't feel like a lot to give up.
It doesn't. And look, like, that Blazers pick is a first-round pick. It could potentially be as high as 15, but obviously no better than that for the Bulls.
The Blazers magically become a playoff team again.
Yeah, but like, and I think they will. Like, they have been, kind of bottoming out these last 2 years. And I think that this year is probably going to be the last year of that, where they're trying to, like, tank for Cooper Flag. And then after that, like, I think there will be some pressure from ownership on Joe Cronin to start to get this thing more towards rebuilding. And so you've got basically, the 24-25 season to tank, the 25-26, 6-7, and 7-8 to get themselves back in the playoffs. I think it's possible that happens, but for the Bulls, like, the opportunity cost of getting off of all that money, making it look like you had a big win in terms of draft capital coming in because you're getting those 2 secured first-round picks, but actually not really getting any first-round picks, like maybe 1, and just giving up those 2 extra seconds to get that deal done. So for the Blazers, it's like having that pick back allows them to, okay, you've got Scoot, you've got Shaedon Sharp, I've got them taking Buzelis, I've got them getting back into the first round and taking Khalil Ware. So you've got this core of, like, guys that you think can be really good. Now you've also got all your picks, and you can start to make moves to complement them and kind of kickstart the rebuild around the core that they've already drafted and gotten in that way. So I think it actually makes sense for them. I think the value of getting their own pick back and having that flexibility does count for something, even if it's like, it does end up eventually being like a second round pick. Yeah. I would understand why, like, the value on face doesn't look the same, but I do think it makes sense in this situation because it's going back to the team that originally traded the pick away.
I do like the other fairness for Detroit also, because Will has them getting Cody Williams as well, which, again, when you lose your coach and you bring it in the GM, you're trying to make that splash.
Right.
So getting a guy like Zach, getting Cody, that's called a splash.
And that's a guy they've been linked to at 5. So they move back, get Zach LaVine, and still get their guy.
Wow.
Is anyone happier than Monty Williams today?
Oh, man. Shout out Monty Williams.
So much cash.
Shout out, sir.
Also, shout outs to some of our international Bulls Nation. Ramon hanging out with us from Spain. Luis, one of our regulars, hanging out with us from Portugal. Much love to all of you. And Corey, we love you too. All right. Lots of trade and free agency buzz from a Matt Moore column that dropped yesterday. We are going to talk about that on the other side. While we share these words for our friends and sponsors, you know what to do, Bulls Nation. Hit that thumbs up button. Do it for the GOAT's mock. Do it for yourself. Do it for Big Dave. Do it for Sarah.
Try it for yourself.
Yes. Try it for yourself. Seriously, like that? But yeah, I do want to talk about something, though. Mental health. It's the thing. It's something that I think everybody, it's kind of a buzz phrase now. That people, but what I do like about it is more people are now accepting therapy and getting into therapy now because it's out there. It is there to help you. I remember coming up, man, it was not like that at all. It was not. It was just, hey, dude, no, just deal with it. Just handle it. You'll be fine. It's not like that anymore, guys. Get some help, and you can definitely get some help with some awesome therapy, man, because when life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months, man. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, just give a crew like BetterHelp a try. I definitely have a friend of mine who just recently started therapy. They're going through a lot of stuff mentally. They used to come to me a lot about, just having conversations and things. And I told them, I'm glad you do, but I do think you should also get some professional help, and talk to them about maybe things you're just not comfortable saying to me. Even though you can say anything to me, but I'm not licensed in that field, but I'm always going to be here to help. They think that it's a good thing. They've done it. They did the first session, enjoyed it. They'll be going back. So yes, just always getting better is a very important thing, no matter how old you are. You can be young Sarah, you know what I mean? Or you can be Mark Carmen. You however you are, you can go and get this help, man. It's a thing, man. So it's entirely online. BetterHelp is entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So just take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/CHGO today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/CHGO. Make sure you're right up here so you can be right in here.
Like that.
Tagline guy.
Today's show also brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. That's a lot of members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. No sharks, no weirdos in basements, no bots cheating and all the like. Nope. It's just you using your own brain and looking at some numbers. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 different player stat projections, the game that you are jazzed about watching anyway, and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends. Become part of the Prize Picks community today. And while the NBA Finals might be over, womp womp, sad face, hoops action still rolling. Women's basketball is still heating up with stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, shout out Sky. She is putting up stats. Angel Reese is having a heck of a start to her rookie year.
Yes.
Also, shout out and love to Cameron Brink. Awful news about the ACL tear that came out earlier today.
I was watching the game when it happened.
I watched her fall on that drive, and ooh.
Yeah, that's tough.
So no Cameron Brink for a while on Prize Picks, but still lots of fun to be had with young stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, plus some of the old vets around the league. Brianna Stewart still putting up numbers, and there are those options for you if you are a hoops junkie like we are. There's the WNBA, and of course, baseball season. We are in the thick of baseball summer. Shout out to the Cubbies. They did just close it out. Got a W against San Fran. I believe that was their first series win since like mid-May, not counting the 2-game crosstown against the Sox.
Oh, man.
Which, no shade, doesn't count.
It does not. Team is ass.
You can have fun on Prize Picks too with baseball. You can, pick more than or less than on things like players' home runs and total bases in a game, pitcher strikeouts, all that jazz. Similar stuff that we've been telling you about NBA is also there for MLB if you're watching a lot of baseball this summer. Download that Prize Picks app today. Use promo code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Sarah, let me ask you quickly, because I know you're a huge Caitlin Clark person. How are you enjoying her season so far in WNBA? I don't think we've discussed it since she got into the WNBA, so that's what I'm asking.
My problem is I feel like no one's like supporting her. That's my whole thing. I feel like she's getting like really beat up, which is fine. And it's okay to be a rookie and it's okay to get beat up and play dirty, whatever, like that's fine. But I feel like what she's experiencing from like other players, I don't know. I have like hot takes on it. I just think everyone's kind of jealous of her, honestly, because it's like she's making all this money and like all these endorsements. There's veterans that have been in that league, for years that haven't gotten any of that money or as nearly as much money as she has. So I think I don't know. I just kind of, she's strong though. So it's like, I know she'll be fine and she's a rookie and it's her first year and this will all blow over.
Okay.
But I just feel like everyone's kind of jealous of her.
Okay.
And I feel that same way with Angel Reese. It's like they have all these young, how old are they? 21? Like they're young. And then you have these veterans who like have been in the league forever. And it's like, they just don't do the same as these young girls do. But people didn't care 2-3 years ago.
This is true.
So it's different. They'll be fine though. I think they're doing good. No, I love to see it. I just want everyone to be like a little nicer to them.
All right. Had to check in on you.
No, she's doing great though.
I mean, NBA, welcome to the league moments have always been a thing for rookies.
It's a thing, yeah.
You got to earn your stripes. You got to go through those moments.
Even I think LeBron was just talking about this, maybe in reference to Caitlin Clark. I just saw a clip, so I'm not sure, but he was saying like when he first got drafted, everybody in the team was like, weird to have small forwards. Like we don't need this guy.
Yeah.
And that's like his own team.
His own team.
And he's like from Cleveland going to play for the Cavs.
No, when Mike walked in the league, that was the same thing.
Yeah. They were jealous of him.
You're a guard. It's not going to happen.
That's why they were jealous. I'm telling you, a lot of it truly is just like people just being jealous or ignorant or I don't know.
I do agree with you. She needs some teammates. She needs some goons on her teammates who are not going to
at least have your own team be supportive.
I do agree with that.
I get the other teams, but her own team is kind of giving her the cold shoulder. Which
everything changes when you get one of those on your squad.
I would be happy as hell. I would love to have that.
Being mad for this guy. You need your goons, man. It's important.
Half the game is a mental game, so you want everyone to be like mentally prepared.
Yeah,
and so it's like, why are you tearing everyone down then?
Let me just see this guy back in the playoffs. That's what I want.
Yes. Oh man, I think 4 wins right now.
Meanwhile, a lot of buzz going on in NBA offseason rumor mills. Matt Moore of the Action Network, also contributor at Locked On, shout out to our old home, put out a huge column with a bunch of different teams and a bunch of different names in it yesterday. And there is a lot of Bulls slop, as Go would say, in there. Let's, including there's a big one with Zach and Caruso and Kings and the Kings package. That's the biggie. We will save that one. Okay. Let's first touch on a couple of tidbits. First, Clint Capela, a popular trade target with the Grizzlies, Wizards, Pelicans, and Bulls having expressed interest. And that came as sort of like a little afterthought after Moore was talking about the fact that it is still very much in the Hawks' plans to try to trade one of, but not both, Trae Young or DeJounte Murray this summer. Obviously, that is priority 1A for them right now. But maybe they're also listening to offers on Capela. If the Bulls want to go out there and get him, sounds like they have some competition for him.
Yeah, my friend in Atlanta who has season tickets told me I watch him up close, and he's not excited at all about getting Clint Capela on the Bulls. But I mean, it's weird because it's a necessity right now. You need a backup center. You need it. You don't have it, so you got to take it. And a guy who I like my centers will to have different skill sets from the starter to the backup. If my starter is a guy who is just catching lobs and getting rebounds, then I want more finesse from my backup center. I like change of pace. You know what I mean? Even with running backs, if you have 2 running backs, you want the change of pace. You want the fire. You want the ice. So Clint Capela can be that for the Bulls. He'll come in, he'll catch the lobs, he'll get you a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. But how long can he do this? I don't know, because he's been dealing with health issues for a couple years now. So I don't know if that's the case, but again, it boils down to a point guard for the Bulls, because Clint Capela is really, really good when he has a point guard on his team, a la James Harden,
right,
a la Trae Young, and you just mentioned DeJounte Murray. So those things you're going to have to look at too. But, you need a backup center. That's kind of how I look at him, as a backup.
I love that you thought about it as a backup center, because that is not at all how I thought about it. So I'm glad we are thinking about this and like covering all the bases.
Sure.
Because I think that's a good point. For me, I was thinking about it like, oh, this means Vooch is out of here. Like, he's going to be the starter.
Okay.
Which is strange to me, because as we've talked about a bunch, like, one, I think AK, obviously, Vooch was his guy. Like, that was the first real move that he made, was to go out and trade for Vooch. He said multiple times that he believes in the construction of how that team worked when it was working, right? And what did that, like, a big piece of that was a dribble pass shoot center who could score on the block, who could space out the floor from three, who could rebound, and going to Capela, who's like a pure rim roller, lob catcher, rim protector. That's like the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Very different.
To me, it would be like a your problem for my problem kind of thing. Yeah. Like the Bulls get off of 1 year by picking up Capela and a couple extra million in salary for this year. The Hawks would take back Vooch, and maybe they feel like they could play him alongside Sarr, which I actually think would be kind of a great fit, or maybe alongside Klingon or Okongwu or Jalen Johnson, whatever it may be. So to me, I was thinking about it as like this could be their chance to move off of Vooch. And I've heard, I think Joe Cowley first reported that the Bulls do feel like maybe starting to sniff around the market for Vooch. And like we've kind of talked about, if the Bulls are going to make changes, it kind of starts with Zach, but if they waive and stretch Lonzo and find a trade partner for Vooch, like you could really start to make some changes to the roster while still bringing back everybody else that you want to bring back. So it's interesting to kind of think about what life would look like after Vooch, because he just has been, you overpaid to get him, you overpaid to extend him. You feel like that he's like a big piece of what you want to do. Yeah. But now to have this kind of like swerve away from that style of center to go more towards the lob catcher, I think would be really interesting. I don't know that the Bulls are really like built to make him successful, and I think you're right to say that he has declined in play over the last couple of years. So I don't think it would be like a great long-term solution, but he has an expiring contract. He is making roughly the same amount as Vooch, and maybe that helps you clear out some more cap space long-term to be able to make some other moves down the line.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Capela is 30, so a little bit younger than Vooch, but still a big man, on the wrong side of 30. But he's been a starter basically his entire career.
It's true.
73 games played this past season, 73 of them as a starter. Mm-hmm. Year before that, 65 games, 63 starts. Year before that, 74 games, 73 starts. 63 the year before that. Mm-hmm. I think I would probably tend to lean towards Will, which is if the Bulls are really going after Capela, it's because they want him to be their starter, which would be a change in stylistically what AK and what kind of bigs AK has proven to want on his team from an offensive standpoint. Capela's stats this past season, he started every single game that he played, but he only averaged a shade under 26 minutes per. He put up 11.5 and 10.5. Like you were just saying, Dave. Like, yeah, dude's a modest double-double machine. Pretty much what he's been his whole career. Mm-hmm. If there's a bidding war for Clint Capela, I don't know that I feel great about the Bulls getting involved in the bidding war.
Right. Whatever other team you win, he's yours.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what I've been saying is like the Bulls, when you think about like the obvious pathways for them to make changes, it starts with Zach. But I do think, and AK has been kind of advocating for himself in this regard, that like they have been creative before and that they could do the same again. And I think finding, even if it's not like keeping Capela for the full year or like just for this year, like maybe you flip him as an expiring contract into something else and that turns into another asset that you can use to go get a different guy. So I think that's kind of where the Bulls have struggled in the past couple of years, is that they just haven't made moves to help them get to the next thing. And turning a guy that, did not play well last year, Vooch, did not play up to his standards by any means, and he'd be the first to tell you that, into a guy who's on an expiring contract that can maybe help you now, but maybe also just be a trade chip or salary matching for another player that you could go out and get. I think that's now you're starting to think creatively about, you're not just like doing the move to get the guy to fit your team. Now you're thinking about like what's two steps ahead? How can I really adjust this team around the guys in the core that I do want to keep?
And I'm again, the reason I don't even think about it as far as him being the starter is for the reasons you all kind of laid out about how that's AK's guy. Yeah. Like, and we know how he feels about his guys.
It makes total sense.
And I just don't see him saying, well, I'm going to get rid of you. I see him saying, well, Drummond's gone. Now I got some room right here. So how about I put this younger guy who's a lesser version of you, right here, who could probably get a little more run and give Vooch a little more time. Because I'm sure, again, if you haven't watched Vooch and you just looked at the numbers, you're like, oh, that's not bad. That's exactly what you would say, because you see the numbers, you're like, no, this is consistent years of like 18-11, 16-11, 16-11, all that. But if you watch the game, you understand. You get it. And it might be time to move on. But I just don't see them doing that. And, yeah, I kind of see him more in a backup role. But he's definitely a starter, as Matt laid out.
Bobby said in the comments, I feel Capela will be hurt a lot, and we will still play Sanogo or the guy that we might draft on draft night. Capela's 60. I just rattled off his games played over the last 4 seasons. It's pretty healthy for a big man. French Bulls TV also pointing out Capela younger and on a shorter contract. I assume you're comparing him to Vooch in that regard. And yes, he does have just this one upcoming season, the 24-25 season, 1 year remaining on his deal, $22.2 million salary for that year. So, I mean, dude, if we can get off the 2 years of Vooch, Mike, make that happen somehow. Cowley, go prop up your boy Vooch out there and up his trade value across the league.
Hey, Julia.
Hey, all right, let's put a pause in this conversation about Matt Moore's Action Network report from yesterday. Also some Patrick Williams juice in there, and then of course Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. We will get to all of that next. But first, if you didn't hit the like button the first time, now's your chance to do it this time. Mario,
The timing.
Big Dave, who we shouting out next?
Beer.
Oh,
We drink it. We like it. You see what he literally was about to do? Because when it hits your lips, it's so good.
fill it up again.
Oh. Because it's Coors Light, dang it. And he enjoys it because between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the Wildergo Gottlieb 214th annual karaoke house party?
I'm there.
Oh, every year. Or after a tough loss, settle the score with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for Coors Light. It is mountain cold refreshment. Because when those mountains turn blue, oh yeah, you know what to do. It's as cold as a Colorado haze. Cold lager, cold filter, cold package for a smoother finish. So when you embrace the chill mindset, it's always a good time to choose chill and crack open a frosty cold Coors Light. Make the most out of the times you choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Go ahead and get it delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
After you get that Coors delivered straight to your door, and you're like, great, that errand's done. Maybe you still have a few errands to run. Maybe one of them is going out and shopping for that new car that you've been thinking about getting. Ray Chevy has got your back. For your new Chevy, make Ray Chevrolet your first draft pick. Screw Alex Sarr. Visit our partner this June to shop their summer sales event going on all month long at Ray Chevy on Route 12 in Fox Lake and at RayChevrolet.com. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the entire Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Plus, find the perfect tailgate vehicle. CHGO Bears tailgates just right around the corner. Just a little bit more summer, and then boom, tailgates will be here. Right now, get $12,000 off MSRP on a new 2024 Chevrolet Silverado, or lease the new 2024 Chevy Trax for only $179 a month for 24 months. That is an insane lease deal. Or cruise into June your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. Incredible deals everywhere. And of course, you've heard of Ray's Price Promise. That's the one that says the price you see on the website is the price you will pay when you go to the dealership and say, hey, I saw this car for this price on the site. There it is. I see it. I would like it for this price, please. And Ray will say, you got it. But let me see if I can find you even more savings first before I send you out the dealer in your brand new Chevy. Shop the summer sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or RayChevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Oh, poetry. I like Anthony asking, are Peck and Will the GOAT wearing the same sandals once again? Of course, the Burke brothers are in full effect.
Yes.
The King Solomon threes are on.
Dude, Anthony came into the comments. Anthony came into the comments firing today. He said something about how he's in Florida and he wanted Matt to shout out his favorite state.
No, he wanted me to shout out his mom who's visiting him in Florida.
Oh,
shout out
okay.
Anthony's mom. Shout out to all the moms out there in Bulls Nation.
Shout out to you.
I will not shout out the state of Florida.
See how you got around that? That was really nice. Really great job.
I mean, I said the word.
You did. You
Words
did.
came out of my mouth.
Does that count? Judges? Yes? Yes.
Judges? Oh, my goodness. All right, let's dive into the next tidbit from Matt Moore, Action Network, mentioning the Charlotte Hornets, who are worried about losing Bridges this offseason. The Sixers, one of the teams expected to have interest in Miles Bridges. Meanwhile, the Hornets are known to be fans of Bulls restricted free agent to be Patrick Williams if they can't retain Bridges in his free agency.
Yeah.
So, are we worried about the Hornets snaking Patrick Williams away with a fatter offer sheet than the Bulls are comfortable paying, Pat? Do we not care? How should Bulls fans feel about this? Because I do think that the Hornets are one of what I would guess is more than one team who would come calling at Patrick Williams when free agency opens to see what his deal is.
It's like Will said, when you talk about him fitting in with someone, he fits in with everyone, like because of the prototype.
He's a multi-positional defender who can knock down threes.
Yeah, you need that. Do you need that? Anybody? Oh, all 30 teams? Yeah, he fits in everywhere. So, yeah, definitely will fit in wonderfully with the Hornets. I think you're right, man. I think they're not going to be the only team to be coming and giving him an offer. Detroit, Houston, OKC, like especially those young squads, and of course Charlotte's a young squad, are going to be after a guy like Patrick Williams. So I think I still think they're going to keep him. I still think the Bulls are going to hold on to him. But it's going to be interesting to see what money is going to be offered because they're going to come after him. Like this is going to happen. So I'm interested to see how the Bulls feel and also how Patrick feels about it. I don't think he hasn't strike me as a guy who wants to leave or go anywhere.
But Lars in the comments pointing out
money talks.
P-Dub is from the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
They got other Charlotte guys on that team, Grant Williams and Seth Curry.
It's true. All that is true. But we'll see what he values. You know what I mean? But money talks in the end, and we'll see if he wants to go home or if he wants to stay here and continue with the Bulls. But I do think the Bulls will definitely be matching whatever offer the team throws out there.
And that is the big question with just like some of the other moves that I think have to take place in order for them to get to that point. Because I agree with you. Like, it's not just the Hornets, who I do think make a lot of sense on the basketball court, where you've got, LaMelo Ball, the 6th pick, who maybe they take a guard. They've been linked to guys like Reed Shepherd and Stephon Castle. You've got Brandon Miller. You put in Patrick Williams at the power forward spot. You got Mark Williams at the 5. Like, that's a really nice young core. And the opportunity to add guys who are age 22, like coming off of their rookie contract, it's very rare to do that. I mean, the Bulls did it with Lonzo Ball a couple of years ago when they signed him and did that sign and trade with the Pelicans. And it was like a really rare opportunity to get a guy who was a high draft pick at age 23 or whatever he was at the time.
Yeah.
That's a really rare thing. I think it's really valuable to a lot of teams, and especially teams with cap space who are young and up and coming. So Hornets, I think, make a lot of sense. Obviously, as we talked about, he is from the Charlotte area, and I would imagine, like, just like anybody else, like playing for the hometown team would be pretty appealing. So
would that light a fire under his ass finally?
I mean, it's going to depend on what the offer is and how much space the Bulls have on their cap by the time they need to match anything.
Yeah.
And so I think the best course of action with Patrick is quickly acting on an extension, get that done before he gets there.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's obviously for a amount of money that you can feel pretty comfortable with, but like I would not be surprised at all if teams are throwing him $22 million a year. And now you've got some questions to answer because, again, if you can't trade Zach and you want to bring back DeMar, like, you can't do all three of those things. And you have to really seriously consider what the options are at that point, because I think we all know, like, the tax is out of the question.
Yeah.
So how do you bring back guys, stay out of the tax? It's very difficult, especially when guys like Patrick are going to be drawing a lot of interest from some of these younger teams, especially ones with cap space who, they can just take Patrick into their cap space. They don't need to do a sign and trade where the Bulls could get something back. So if they don't either come up with a sign and trade deal or match the offer outright, like, he can just walk into that cap space. See ya, fourth overall pick out the door.
Bulls in a
Flex takes in the comments saying, please take Pat off our hands. He's a spineless jellyfish.
Oh, man.
Ooh. As opposed to all those jellyfish floating around with really rigid spines in them.
Oh, man, I've seen so many.
Bobby saying, we do care about P. Will. Bring him back for one last hurrah and then maybe yeet him. Are the kids saying yeet to mean trade now? What's going on?
Yeah. Yeet can mean anything.
Okay.
I mean, but it's usually yeet.
Well,
like, yeah, that's what's up.
Okay. Well, but he is suggesting bring him back for one last hurrah. I'm assuming that means, like, what, you want the qualifying offer, like, timeline? Because, Will, you said that pretty much is almost impossible as far as the likelihood of what happens with Pat this summer.
Guys who accept the qualifying offer are trying to get to free agency because they don't see a long-term deal with the team that they currently play for or other offers out there from other teams. Patrick's going to have offers out there for other teams. So
Yeah.
that's like we were talking about the qualifying offer as like a placeholder for how much money we think would be on the cap for next year, but I think it's going to be much more than that. Right now, his offer or his qualifying offer is like $12.9 million. I could see him getting anywhere from like 15 to 22.
So let me ask this then. We know the Bulls are in the dilly of a pickle.
Woo!
Where
My favorite kind of pickle.
Where, oh man, delicious. So where is that on the priority? Where is that on the priority as far as Patrick Williams, knowing that these teams are after him, knowing that they'll give him these offer sheets, but you're saying you want to wrap that up quick and not even kind of get into that, but also still want DeMar, also still going to trade Zach. So where does he fall in the list of like priority?
Well, I think Zach is the number one priority for this team, and it makes sense why you would think that, right? Because in order to bring back DeMar and bring back Patrick, which AK said publicly that he wanted to do, you need to create space in order to do that. Trading Zach or trading Vooch and waiving and stretching Lonzo are like really the only two ways to do that. I don't know if there are going to be any takers for Vooch. I don't know if they want to just completely punt on Lonzo's comeback. I don't know if there's going to be any takers for Zach. So what happens if you can't do any of those things? That's the question. That's where you have to decide between like Patrick and DeMar or either of those guys, because you might at that point just have to be stuck with Zach. Or maybe you're like, you know what? We cannot afford to leave DeMar. We cannot afford for Patrick to leave. Let's just give up some assets, attach Caruso or multiple picks or one pick or whatever it is to Zach to get him out of here so that we can move forward with the rest of our core. Now, the question after that is like, well, okay, you said you wanted to make some changes. All you did was like dump a guy that played 25 games for you and bring everybody else back. Like, does that count as changes? I don't know. That's going to be the first question AK has to answer if that's the direction he chooses. But the point is, like, it's very hard to like line all these things up on the timeline where you get it right. And so that's why I think Zach being traded on draft night is going to be a massive priority for this Bulls organization. I don't know that they'll be able to do it, but that is going to be the priority because that unlocks the door for you to be able to make all these other things. If you can't do that, I just don't know how that's possible.
Connor in the comments saying everything hinges on the Zach trade. And I think I agree. I agree with Connor. I agree with you, Will. So let us shift that to the biggest and juiciest from Matt Moore's column for Action Network yesterday as far as what was Bulls related, and that is Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso being tied to the Sacramento Kings. If you would, Sarah, I want to throw that excerpt from Moore's column from yesterday up there. Sacramento Kings are going back to the well with the same trade package, kill me now, they offered Toronto twice for Anunoby and Siakam. Offer includes Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and draft pick compensation. They've known to have had calls with Chicago involving Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. The Kings would love to keep Malik Monk and will offer him the max they can at 4 years, $78 million, but realistically won't be able to match offers he could get from Detroit, Charlotte, and Orlando, who are all known to have interest. That in part is what makes LaVine more attractive to them at a discounted price, kill me now, after his trade market value hit rock bottom, kill me now again, at the deadline. So look, this Kings trade package has been floating around for what, like a year and a half now?
Yeah.
Anyone want Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter? I'll trade you my shirt for a grilled cheese.
It's like that deal, like somebody that likes you a lot is just always around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At some point in time, you're just going to realize, come on, you want to go to the dance or not? Do you want to go or not? I mean, the only thing is the attachment of Alex Caruso. That's the only thing that gets me. I'm not against giving Zach up for that package that they're offering right there. I'm not against it at all.
And there was a point not too long into the past where that trade package for LaVine himself didn't sound crazy.
Nope. Didn't sound crazy at all. And I think we were kind of with it.
Yeah.
But hearing it with an attachment of Alex Caruso is what throws me off. And I'm like, I'm going to need to know what the draft pick compensation is with that. If you want both of these guys. With Zach, I know what you can give me. You mean, like we said, we know only for a year what they'll be willing to give up. Even if it's not draft pick compensation, they'll throw Davion Mitchell or somebody like that. But if you want Alex with it, bro, I'm going to need stuff. Is all I'm saying. I just want to know what else you want to give.
Here's the thing with that. Like, Harrison Barnes is making $18 million for the next 2 years. Kevin Huerter is making $16.8 million next year. Like, if you do just trade Zach for that, you're still taking a lot of money back, and that still prevents you from being able to give DeMar and Patrick the contracts that you want to give them. What I thought was a good idea about this Pistons trade was you literally dump that contract into the Pistons cap space, which frees up 43 or whatever million Zach is making this year. So that is a lot more appealing to me. You know,
on and off the court.
We'll talk about or we don't know what the draft picks and the compensation would be attached to that, but would Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes help you out next year as a power forward and a shooting guard who could kind of slot right in and give you some 3-and-D play? Yeah, that'd be nice. But I wonder how much it really helps you when, it doesn't really free up that much cap space.
Yeah.
Those two for Zach and Caruso would give you $18 million, but that still puts you over the tax if you bring back if you bring back Patrick and DeMar. You can make other moves to get out of it. Maybe Javon Carter is somebody they can move that $6.5 million next year. As we talked about, wave and stretch Lonzo, moving Vooch. There are options there, and every dollar counts at that point because you are so far over that you got to chip away at it to get yourself back under. Mm-hmm. But I just to me that's a salary dump, but you're not actually dumping that much salary.
Dilly of a pickle, man. Honestly, that's what it is.
Pickle.
You can't have what you want and then keep.
Look who it is. It's our deserter.
Oh,
hey Joey.
Oh, Joey.
Are you done with your Cubs show? You done with your Cubs show?
Out with Big Dave during the Cubs game. He brought great success to the team.
Thank you, Joey.
5 or 6, 4 or 5 run inning.
3.
He left. Immediate grand slam let up. I'm sad I can't be here with you guys, but Sarah's holding it down like always.
She is.
Love to Bulls Nation, and I'll be back tomorrow.
I love how Joey
was producing
pops
the house.
in to be Dave's hype man. Little do you know, Dave led the show with bragging about that.
I told the truth.
Yeah.
Is what I did. Just like Joey just did. Told that truth.
That's
Shout
our
out
guy.
to him, man. We
That's
love
our
you.
guy.
Let's win. Well done, Sarah.
The thing where if you do this trade, Will, and you're only clearing 18 off your sheet, and then your options for then getting under the tax wall, still doing what you said you want to do and bring back DeMar and bring back Pat, it is a fine tightrope line to walk.
In slice.
And it's Barnes and Huerter that both have 2 years remaining, averaging, somewhere around 15, 17. So Barnes is 2 years, 37. Huerter is 2 years, 35, as far as respectively their total remaining contract years and money. And how much do you like those pieces as pieces you want to have around for the next 2 years? And what the hell is your team's plan for the next 2 years, by the way? Because is it being competitive with Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes and DeMar DeRozan and Patrick Williams? And maybe Lonzo Ball on one leg?
It's so weird. Again, this is why I like that they're in these positions, because you can't stay the same. You can't stand pat, because we know what this organization is not going to do.
Yeah.
That is the bottom. We know it. You're not paying that tax. So changes will have to be made, and tough decisions are going to have to be made to make these changes for these teams. We'll find out, again, who they covet, who they like. I think we have an idea of who they covet and who they truly like, but they're not going to be able to keep all of it. And so I'm curious to see who they decide to just say, you know what, it's okay, you can move on. Is it going to be DeMar, which I don't think so? Is it going to be Pat? Probably not. Zach, yeah, we see that, but what do you get back with that, and where does that put you, in luxury tax? How close to the wall does that put you? Because that's going to also be a key point as well, man. That's why I'm excited about this offseason. That's the only thing we enjoy, because you have no choice but to do something. You can't. You can't just stay the same.
Yeah, so I was just plugging in some numbers to the cap sheet here. And if you were to flip Zach and Caruso into Huerter and Barnes, you'd be outgoing 52 million, incoming 35. So that saves you 18. And if you were to give Patrick 17 million, you'd be 5 million over the tax. If you waive and stretch Lonzo, you're under and you're in the clear. But that requires you to waive and stretch Lonzo, which I think is that puts 7 million on your books for each of the next 3 years. It's better than 21 this year, but that's just for this year.
Yeah.
How much does that really help you long term now, where you've got a bigger deal for DeMar, you've got 2 more contracts that you got to move. I do think breaking it up into smaller pieces makes it easier to then continue to move those guys.
Sure.
And I'll say again, I think the Bulls have to be thinking not about we're swinging for the perfect move here. They've got to be thinking about what's the stuff that I can send out to get me stuff that I can then move again. What's the move that gets me to the next move? And because I don't think there's a perfect move that's a solve for this team to get to the finals next year. There's just not.
Oh, no, God, what? No. Oh, man. that.
Luis in the comments saying dump LaVine to get that cap space is the best move, but who's going to take LaVine? I feel like we'll have to wait to endure LaVine until that contract expires. I mean, and I was having a similar conversation with our guy Jamal from Bull Central earlier today. Shout out to him. That episode's out on his YouTube channel. Go check it out after today's episode is over.
Shout out.
About the fact that there is a version of Zach LaVine that is still very much a desired product.
Sure.
For 29 other NBA teams.
Sure.
The version that was like 2 free throw percentage points away from a 50-40-90 All-Star season where he put up 25, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when I bring that up, but like that version of Zach existed not that long ago.
No.
It sucks that his season ended with season-ending surgery, and there's that giant question attached to it, but I can't imagine that the Kings are the only team out there that would be like, hey, if Zach how's your offseason rehab? Good? Your foot good? Everything good? You know, you want out, the Bulls are hot to get this divorce finalized. We might be able to get you at a bargain price compared to what it used to be, which is what Matt Moore is saying here from the Kings' perspective. It's like, hey, we might be able to get Zach LaVine at a steal. I still think there is a possible avenue where you're not just giving up an asset of your own to get off Zach's contract, but you get something for him. In this specific Bulls-Kings trade proposal that Moore is talking about, you, like you said, Dave, have to lump in Caruso, and then it's all about, okay, well, what kind of draft capital are we talking about that's attached to it?
Exactly.
Because to me, the other avenue, and I don't think it's the one the Bulls are going to explore, I think it's the one they should, is sign and trade DeMar. Mm-hmm. Pat, if you get an offer that we think is too rich for our blood, buy. Mm-hmm. Trade Caruso right freaking now for as much as you can, instead of attaching him to Zach and basically losing Caruso for nothing other than a Zach salary dump, and say, Zach, we get it. We're all ready for this divorce. But if you're healthy, get out there. DeMar's gone. Run up and down. Play fast offensively. You're the man. Go out there and be the 2-time All-Star version of Zach that the NBA has all forgotten exists right now. And you bring up Zach's trade value that way, and you trade him at this upcoming season's deadline.
Yeah, I know you definitely love off-season workout videos, but this is one time I damn sure want to see all the Zach LaVine workout videos. Not for me, but for the league. Like, I want the league to see him. Like, I need you to see everything he's doing, every moment of him walking on the beach, writing something where he's contemplating life, every moment where he's working out with his dad, whatever he's doing on his shot, whatever.
He's golfing. He's
all of it. All of it. I want all of that put on display because this is a huge year for him personally. This is a huge year for him, man, in his career. Like, I talked about that during the season. I wrote about it, Flex. I wrote about that and during the season, man. Like, it's important these next couple years for him in his season because the league is telling you how they're looking at you. So you have to kind of try to change that perspective. Again, that's why you kind of sign with people like Clutch Sports because you're looking to get that perspective change, you know what I'm saying, on the outside. But on the floor, and Matt, yes, what he said is 100% accurate about what Zach LaVine can be on the floor. We watched a disengaged Zach LaVine who wasn't feeling great still drop 51 on a team, you know? Like, he wasn't even playing his best this season. He still dropped 51. He can do these kind of things because he is that good of a basketball player, but it definitely got lost in the muck and the mire of everything that happened, how he reacted on the floor, which was poorly, and how he reacted off the floor, which wasn't great either. So all that kind of got lost in the sauce when they started looking at the contract. And they're like, do I really want to pay for a dude? I don't know. It's kind of moody and might act like that. I don't know if I want to do that. So I get it. But this offseason is very, very important, and there'll still be teams that are looking at him. And Sacramento has been looking at Zach since the Bulls got Zach LaVine. Remember when they first signed his first
the team
contract,
that gave him the offer sheet.
Exactly. His first contract with the Bulls was Sacramento trying to match that offer. So they have been after him for a while. They still have that need for him for years. They have needed a Zach LaVine on their team. Maybe this is the year that this actually happens.
Yeah, to me, like, if you have to take back salary and you have to give up Caruso to get Zach, you got to get some picks back. Like,
yeah.
I would not want to do this for just those two, like a 2-for-2 swap. I feel like there's got to be better options there. But I'm also biased and feel like they should move more towards what you were saying, Matt, which is let DeMar walk, sign and trade him, And look, like we have to like preface this every single time we say this by talking about how great DeMar is, how much we respect him, and of course, it's not wrong. Like he's been outstanding. We all know this.
Yes.
But the best thing for the Bulls organization and the future of this team, like I was talking to Doug Tonis recently, and the way he thinks about it, which I think is really well put, is like, what is the best version of this team in 3 years? You don't have to necessarily think about this year or next year, but in 3 years, how do you get this team back to being the best possible version of itself? And so you don't necessarily need to like tear it down to the studs, but like you have to make moves with that in mind. You have to orient yourself more towards that. And like, is DeMar going to even be here in 3 years if you give him a 2-year contract? Is Caruso going to be here in 3 years? Are you going to extend him past, his age 32 season? Those are questions that you have to really reckon with. And if you feel like it's going to cost you picks to get off Zach just for that, like, I don't see how that can be the way that you go. But, Casey Johnson said this on their show the other day. Like, it seems like the Bulls are really trying to be more creative, to not let, previous times where they overpaid a barren market to keep their guys. They're not going to do that again. That's great. And hopefully that happens. But it just seems like to this point, that's what we know this front office to do. And so it's hard to like expect anything different yet. But so to me, that would be like best case scenario would be, not attaching assets to Zach, maximizing your return for Caruso, get what you can for him. If you can't find a sign and trade for DeMar and you don't feel comfortable letting him walk, fine. But like figure out a way to create that space without it costing you assets. This team has to prioritize future draft capital, not getting themselves in a hole the way that the last 3 years have gone, because that's really held them back, where they end up giving the 11th pick to the Magic and could end up doing the same thing again next year to the Spurs.
Luis in the comments saying LaVine and AC to get cap space and a few picks. That is the only deal possible. A few others in the comments. Connor saying the biggest priority, in my opinion, has got to be cap relief. Sure, if you're able to get back a few picks and players back in the process, that's great, but you have to give yourself some cap flexibility. Our guy, French Bulls TV, saying, what if we trade LaVine to get cap space and DeMar and P. Will decide to sign somewhere else? How much cap space do we get after that? I understand the question, and I understand Bulls fans' obsession with cap, not only cap relief, but cap space, which has been a rare commodity around here since the bonanza summer of 21. Let's not forget about the elephant in the room that's always in the room, which room it frickin' is.
Talk to me.
I agree with Will. You've got to prioritize building up your draft cupboard, because what does cap space matter if no good talent, star talent, free agents want to come play here? Free agency, poof, it's a myth. It's not real. Unless the Bulls function as an organization that makes star talent want to play here. And look, I know DeMar said some flowery things in some of his latest comments about, I love the organization, the city, ownership, management, coaching staff. I love my teammates. Love. And I'm not calling DeMar a liar, but I'm saying there's a reason he said all those things.
Sure.
Which was, I love it here. You want me to keep pouring in insane buckets for y'all every night? Drag this pathetic-ass organization to maybe at least the play-in again, hopefully? Pay up. But convincing other star talent, younger star talent, to come here if you do create cap space by letting guys walk and or salary dumping Zach, doesn't freaking matter, y'all. Doesn't freaking matter until the Bulls start functioning like an organization that actually makes players want to come play here.
And star players is what he means when he says that. Not just players that you can get and plug in because they come off the bench.
Oh, I was talking about Javon Carter and Torrey Craig.
I will say I think that's really true, and like it does. I think really like we can talk about draft picks and draft capital as like this theoretical thing, but I think it really does matter, because to me, like the way that you build a team is you collect draft capital, you hit on draft picks, you get like 3 or 4 or however many good young players that you can start to build around. Then you have a young, inexpensive core and cap space. A veteran free agent might want to come play with those guys. And that's a recipe that we saw with them. And then you go into the tax when you feel like you are competitive, when you feel like you have that core together and you want to keep it together. Kobe and Io are on their second contracts already. Like they're going to get paid a lot more in 2 years. The Bulls need to be getting guys like, that are making like $2, $3, $4 million on their rookie scale contracts, building quickly around those guys, bringing in the free agent while you still have cap space, and then you go over the cap and into the tax if you need to in order to re-sign your guys because you have the bird rights there. So I think that's the recipe and the formula that they went to before. Yeah. You had Zach making not a lot of money. You had Kobe, you had Wendell, you had Lowry. You move some of those guys to bring in free agents via sign and trade. You make a big trade to get yourself over the cap, and then you're succeeding at a high level. At that point, it's like you go into the tax, you continue to double down and make good moves. But when things pull back and you're not playing as well, that's when you got to pivot into a new direction. They didn't do that. They have an opportunity to do that here, and that's why I've been saying that I think there are reasons for optimism with this group and with this offseason, but they have to get that part right. And I think it really does start with draft capital because that's how you build the young core. We've seen it with the Mavericks, with Luka. We've seen it with the Celtics, with Jalen Jason. We've seen it with OKC. Like, all the good teams are building up through the draft, getting a ton of capital, infusing more young talent into your already good young core with more picks down the line, and then you strike in the free agent market, and then you really invest into that group when it's worth it. But keeping this thing above the cap, trying to stay afloat and tread water, that's not working. And I think AK has admitted that too, and we'll see if he goes another direction with it.
We'll see.
Real quick before we wrap up, because we are about out of time. This hypothetical, Huerter, Barnes, and let's say lightly protected future first for Zach and Caruso. Do you make that trade if you're the Bulls or not?
I want another pick.
Goat?
To me, I would prefer to just trade Caruso for a pick and a player.
I'll do that.
Because then you actually get something back for him. You're not just using Caruso to dump Zach. So
yeah, it's too good to just be a throw-in. Yeah,
I would rather not do it that way. If you're telling me that the only path forward is we're signing DeMar and we are signing Patrick and we are keeping Kobe and Io and we're running it back, the only way to get this done is to trade Zach, and the only way to trade Zach is to attach Caruso, then yeah, I would ideally want that 13th pick or whatever they have this year. I would ideally want a future first because you are still taking back some bad salary, but if that's the best you can do, then that's probably the type of deal they may have to end up taking.
All right, y'all, we will end it there for now. As our buddy Joey Spathis reminded you in the comments a little bit ago, hit that like button.
Do it.
It'll take you 2 seconds. We got 230 watching live, only 60 likes. Come on, let's get that 60 closer to 230. We appreciate everybody for hitting that like button. Do it for our friend and our producer, Sarah, who is just having, hopefully having fun while hanging out and doing a bang-up job for us on the controls today.
Mm-hmm. Let's not
forget.
Did you
have fun?
I did have fun. I want people to remember to do the live draft show.
That's right. Come on, come hang out with us. A week from tonight, 1 week and 2 hours from now, the NBA draft will be underway.
Yes.
How about that?
How about
Come
it?
hang out with us, PB and J. You can RSVP to our CHGO Bulls draft party and our live draft show just by finding that event under the event subheading allchgo.com. Let us know you're coming. It's free to attend. Wonderful deals available from our friends and presenting partners in Coors Light. Come hang out, eat some delicious pizza, drink some Coors Lights with us while we all watch the draft to figure out what the heck the Bulls are going to do.
What are you going to do?
What you going to do? We are back tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Central. We'll actually be in Studio A, and we will have a guest with us.
Oh, very special one. Very special guest.
Bulls fans, you know him, you love him. We're not going to tell you. You got to show up tomorrow to find out.
Show up.
In the meantime,
you love him.
Become a diehard if you aren't already. If you are a diehard, go read the GOAT's brand new today NBA mock draft with trades. With trades. So many trades. Will_Gottlieb is where you can find him. Big Dave Bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. One more shout out to our panel producer, Sarah, on the controls. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night. We will talk to you tomorrow. See you, Red. Be good.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.